Good evening, everyone. I'm Sheriff Wayne Ivey, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and I want to give our community an update on some recent developments in the Amber Estep homicide investigation. Earlier today, agents from our homicide unit, in partnership with the West Virginia State Police, took into custody Brian Estep, the husband of Amber, for first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm and tampering with evidence relating to a capital felony. With the earlier arrest of Brian, I wanted to bring everyone up to speed on the latest developments in this case as our team continues to work the investigation and bring justice for Amber's murder. As you may recall, the victim in this case is 39-year-old Amber Renee Estep, who was originally reported missing by her mom on January 19th after she had not heard from her daughter for several days, and she also failed to show up at work for multiple shifts at a local hotel. Preliminary investigation in the case back in January revealed that Amber was actually last seen by her husband, Brian Estep, on Tuesday afternoon, January 16th, after leaving a medical appointment in Merritt Island. As part of what at the time was actually a missing person investigation that started on the 19th, our team interviewed Brian Estep, who stated that he and the victim got into an argument after leaving a medical appointment in Merritt Island, and that he dropped her off on I-95, just north of State Road 50, after she requested to be let out of the vehicle. Interestingly enough, within several hours after our agents interviewed Estep, his pickup truck was found in Port St. John, completely engulfed in flames. Various witnesses saw the truck and reported it to law enforcement immediately. Now keep in mind that when initially questioned by our agents on January 19th, Brian Estep stated that he last saw his wife on January 16th at approximately 6 p.m. and then further stated that he and Amber were driving northbound on I-95 when they began to have an argument. Estep stated that he had accused Amber of having extramarital affairs with multiple men and that Amber slapped his face and told him to let her out of the vehicle near mile marker 215. Estep also stated that Amber collected her purse and cell phone and walked away from the vehicle despite his begging for her to come back. Estep additionally claimed he then drove away, leaving Amber on the road, and did not attempt to contact her for 3 days because he wanted to give her space. Sadly, on the afternoon of January 20th, the very next day, Amber was found deceased off of State Road 46 near Pitbull Lane by a property owner who discovered her lying just off the roadway. Our crime scene unit subsequently responded to the area to process the scene, as well as the medical examiner's office that worked closely with us and our agency on this case. As agents began to put the timeline and evidence together in the case, the medical examiner determined that Amber had suffered severe head trauma and multiple gunshot wounds. Now, here's where Estep's story starts to fall apart, as agents conducted a follow-up interview and locked him into a more specific timeline for his and Amber's whereabouts on the day he claimed to have last seen her. Our agents then served multiple search warrants pertaining to the investigation that provided specific information which completely contradicted Estep's story about leaving Amber on the side of I-95, and also information that led our team to a wooded location deep within what's often referred to as the black hole. With the aid of our BCSO Human Remains Detection Canine, agents and crime scene investigators discovered blood that would later be proven to be a positive match to Amber's DNA. In that same location, agents and crime scene investigators also located multiple projectiles that were lodged in the dirt. Further information demonstrated that Estep moved Amber's body from the black hole under the cover of darkness and then drove her around North Brevard and South Volusia County until he later discarded her remains, where she was ultimately discovered off of State Road 46 in Mims. Since Amber's discovery and initial interviews with our homicide agents, Estep vacated his residence in Titusville and moved to West Virginia, where he was taken into custody earlier today on charges of first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm and tampering with evidence relating to a capital felony. Currently, our homicide agents are working with the West Virginia State Police as they collectively serve a search warrant on Estep's West Virginia residence to locate any other possible items of evidence regarding this case. Despite Brian Estep's fabricated alibi, his attempts to destroy crucial evidence, and just the disgusting evil in his heart, our BCSO agents and crime scene investigators were able to directly connect him to Amber's murder so that justice can be served and her family can hopefully have closure in her death. Thankfully, Brian Estep is now being held on a no-bond status in West Virginia, where he will sit in jail until being extradited back to Brevard County to face charges for his disgusting actions. As always, I cannot be more proud of our homicide agents, our crime scene investigators, and our analysts for all of their hard work, passion, and dedication in solving this case. And of course, a huge thank you to the incredible members of the West Virginia State Police for their invaluable assistance in this investigation and arrest. And then also a huge thank you to everyone, all of our citizens who contacted our agency during the course of this investigation with potential evidence or insight into the case. We always say that if you see something, say something. And in this case, that's exactly what our citizens did. In closing, it is our hope that the arrest of Brian Estep for the murder of Amber will help bring some sense of closure to Amber's family, who lost their loved one at the hand of a cold-blooded murderer. The thoughts and prayers of our entire agency and community are with them as they face this most difficult time.